Hey everybody, I'm just going to take a little bit of time here to go over your instructions for the second component of your APA style literature review, and that's the outline of your lit review and reference list. What you're looking at here is the instructions area there, which you'll find under Unit 5 in our course modules there. So just scroll down past Unit 5, you'll see the APA lit review module, and then just look for the instructions for component 2, which is what you're looking at now. Mine's going to look a little different than yours because I'm looking at the instructor review, but essentially everything is still there for you to see. And don't pay attention too much to the dates here in case these don't match your current semester. I'm just recording this during a current spring semester, so if you're in a different semester, it's going to look different regarding the dates there, but don't really worry about that. First of all, I want to draw your attention here to the Pocket Guide to APA Style, which comes with your textbook there. Either you've got the ebook or you've got the print version. It's in the back of the print version. If you have the ebook, there's a separate link to it there in the MindTap module on campus. But I want to draw your attention to Appendix B, Addressing Technical Issues in Writing, this especially Section B8, pages 168 to 172. There's some really cool information there about just creating your outline. And according to a specified format, they give you some examples there too. And as I say here, if you have a good outline, the final version of your paper, that is part 3 of your paper, the final lit review, will practically write itself, and it really will. Basically, you have the framework in place. All you have to do is fill it in, if you will. I've also included a file that you can use as a template to create your outline. It's very similar to the same ones you're going to find in that Pocket Guide to APA Style. So where it says Outline Template, I'm going to go ahead and just click the preview button here and pull this up and let it load there. And what you're seeing here is just some basic information, again referencing the Pocket Guide to APA Style. And you should have these elements there in your outline: Roman numerals, capitalized letters, Arabic numerals, etc. there. This is just an example. It's just really a template there. And so just so you can see what the format should basically look like. And it says division of outline down here. Roman numeral headings should be more general, while subheadings, the capitalized letters should be more specific. And, just kind of take a look at that there to help you out with that. This is just the template, so when you see an actual real example, which I'm going to walk you through in a moment here, that'll really make things more clear to you there, if you will. But do note, as I say here, full sentences are required at each level of the outline, so don't use partial sentences, don't use incomplete sentences, don't just use labels there, if you will, because that will cause you to have point deductions. Please note, as I have in the box here, you've got to have an introductory statement, and that can be your thesis statement, but it's got to be elaborated, and you must have a conclusion or summary at the end of the outline. As far as the reference list, this is going to be the last page of your APA style outline here, and it should be on a separate page. You still have to have at least 10 references from peer-reviewed sources, and you are allowed to have other sources that aren't peer-reviewed, but you must have at least 10 that are peer-reviewed. And the important thing here, as you can see italicized and bold-faced here, you must cite every reference in the body of the outline at least one time. And if you fail to do so, that's a pretty serious omission, and that defeats the purpose of the outline, as I say, because this is designed to indicate how you're going to incorporate each reference in your final paper. So make sure that you cite everything at least once there, and I'm going to go over that again when we finish off with the instructions here. Definitely take a look at the examples that I've got here in the instructions, and also that appendix there in your Pocket Guide to APA Style. Now, as I said, we've got some examples here. So if we see where it says Outline Examples, I'm going to go ahead and open this up here. There are good ones, fair ones, and poor ones here, but let this load. And if you see here, this is an excellent one right here. So you can see the introduction. You can see how they use the Roman numerals there, the capital letters, the numbers under that there, the subheadings under that. You can see how you have a citation. You put the authors, you list them there. You put the year in parentheses. And sometimes here you can see what you do if you quote. You put things in quotes. You put the author name, the year, and the page number there. That's really important if you are going to quote, that you include the page number there. So just take some time to tool through that example there. You can see everything broken down, Roman numeral 2, 3, etc. there, how things are structured there. This is how it should, quote, look like, if you will. And you can also see towards the bottom here, there's a conclusion. This one's rather long. Yours doesn't have to be that long there, if you will, but you can see the conclusion down here, so make sure that you have that along with your introduction. Then you're going to have your list of references. Technically, these should start on a new page, but I didn't do that here so you wouldn't get lost when you just looked at these things. But technically, they should be on a new page, and they have to be in the same format as you found for your first part of your submission there. Okay. Now the next one here you can see is another example here. This one's fair. So again, just go ahead and walk through that. Take a look at it there. By the way, you can open this file in Word there too if the preview doesn't work too well. So you can see some of the comments about it there as well, indicating what was wrong with it. So just take a look at that there. Kind of the good, the bad, the ugly as far as examples there. I'm going to go ahead and close that out and take a look at another set of examples here too, because your topic is on social psychology. So there's some examples here of social psychology outlines. Okay, let's go ahead and open these up. One is on the bystander effect and one is on the issue of happiness. So if I go ahead and just scroll this down here again, you can see in this example here the introduction. Then you can see Roman numeral 2, 3, 4, etc. there all the way down. Some material quoted, some not. You can see how you have citations here in parentheses. And also here towards the bottom, you'll see a conclusion. Again, the list of references. These should start on a new page technically again, but it's okay here because this is just an example to show you things. And then you can see the other outline here. This one for happiness, same thing. Roman numeral 1, introduction, Roman numeral 2. Subheaders there, if you will, sub-items, just scroll down. Some things are quoted, some are not. And then you'll also see the conclusion there at the end as well. I'm not really sure why it's jumping with the text size there. That's got to be a Canvas issue. Sorry about that, but you can see that conclusion there and the references there as well. So just make sure you take a look at that. The next item here is the outline rubric and citations and references. So if you want to just see how you're going to be graded and how points are going to be assigned here, take a look at this rubric here. Let me scroll this down just a little bit here. So you can see 15 points for formatting, 25 for content and citations, and then 10 for references there. If I go back up here, I have some specifics about what you need to do regarding your formatting. That has to do with did you use Roman numerals properly or not, if you have headings that are specific or not. Full sentences must be used there. If you don't, it's a 5-point deduction. If headings are missing, that's a 1-point deduction. Content and citations there, you just have to make sure that you address every one of your references and say something about them, and don't just be very general. You want to say something specific there too, because you should be kind of reading those articles and pulling things out that you know are going to support your thesis statement. And speaking of that, you have to have a thesis statement here, that you also have an introduction. You have to have a conclusion offered. If you don't have a thesis statement, that's 5 points off. If no introduction, 5 points off. If no conclusion, 5 points off. Again, all references must be used as a citation. Get a 1-point deduction for each reference that you don't use. Also, if there's a citation for which there's no corresponding reference, that's a 1-point deduction too. So I'm going to say when I get back to the instructions and the area there, do not cite things that you don't have in your list of references. That kind of defeats the purpose. Also importantly here too, if there's excessive quoting, that is if all the content is quotations, that's 10 points off because quoting is not writing. If about half of your content is quoted material, at least 5 points off there. So be careful about that. I have some detail about incorrect citations. Make sure that you examine some of the more common mistakes I have there. And also APA style references. A lot of the same things that apply for the first part of your paper assignment are going to apply here. So just make sure you take a look at that detail there so you don't, especially make sure you incorporate any of the corrections I suggested from the first part of your paper. I don't want to see you get dinged again for the same mistakes you made the first time. So I gave you very specific feedback for any mistakes you made in the first part of the paper. So do yourself a favor, incorporate what I told you to fix, and you won't lose all those points again because you don't want to have that happen. Okay, and getting back to the instructions here too, make sure that you provide in-text citations to support your statements at each of the outline. So don't have passages of text detailing what you found in the literature without a citation to back it up. And likewise, as I say here, do not cite information or sources that are not in your list of references because either of those errors defeats the purpose of a literature review. Use the outline examples to have some guidance here. Check out chapters 5 to 8 in your pocket guide there for citations of specific sources. There's many examples there. And in the pocket guide, they identify these as in-text citations. So again, you can see what it looks like. But also check out the examples there too. Also in this box here, again, a reminder, you must have an intro statement there. You must have a conclusion. You must cite every one of your references at least once in your outline. Again, I just go on to say don't cite things that aren't in your list of references, and don't have things in your references that you fail to cite. You're supposed to present the sources you actually located and documented in your reference list, so if you don't do that, I mean, that's a problem. Especially number 4 here, be careful to avoid just quoting passages from the sources that you located there. Quoting is not writing, and that will result in a significant deduction of points according to the rubric we just looked at there. So paraphrase what you found as much as possible and use quotes sparingly. So you are allowed to use quotes, just don't have the whole content in your outline, a series of quotes, because that's not cool to do that there. Now the last thing here, as you will see in the outline template above, you have to have your list of references there in correct APA format. The last page of your outline is your APA style reference list, so it should begin on a new page. Remember, like for the first part of your paper, you have to have at least 10 references from peer-reviewed scholarly articles. You are allowed to include non-peer-reviewed sources, but you need to have at least 10 that are peer-reviewed. And I'll just give you a little tip here too. As you find you're writing your outline and your final paper, if some of your original list of 10 references aren't working for you anymore, they're not going to help you write your paper, well, go ahead and ditch them, but just replace them with references that will help you. So you are not married to your original list of 10. As part of the writing process, that you will add and subtract references and use them to help you write your paper. But if you had something originally you thought was great to help you, but it turns out it's not going to work, throw it out and just replace it with something that will. Just make sure you have at least 10 peer-reviewed articles. Again, use the examples to help you guide your own outline, especially the social psychology outline examples. Those are really helpful there. And also just a reminder about the due date here, and if you're late, it's 10% off there. And then any additional day you're late is 5% additional points, and I won't take anything after 3 days. That is 72 hours from the original due date in time. So you don't get dinged that way. Turn things in on time, because I hate to see a really good paper and then have you lose all these points because it was just late. So make sure you get it in on time. And remember, this second part of your paper, as you'll see on your syllabus there, this is worth 50 points. So it's a significant chunk. It's worth an entire exam. So do your best. Use the examples to help guide you there, and make sure, again, you're careful to cite every one of your references, and don't cite things that aren't in your references. And don't quote too much there too. So I'm being redundant. As you know, I'm famous for doing that. But I want you to avoid making the big mistakes there, at least, because that'll help you out. And again, just use those samples. It'll really get you on the right path there. That's why I give them for you. And I hope this video helped you out. It's just what I would tell my students in a face-to-face class. So I'm just trying to help you out here with this. So, all right, well, good luck.